Well, good evening. It's nice to see you here this evening. Last week on the show, I had Jean White. We discussed a little bit about weight loss. I named it Decoding the Hype Surrounding Weight Loss. So I want to go in a little bit more about that today and discuss some things with you. But first of all, I want to say, what the hype? The world is making millions on our struggle for weight loss. You know, we get on a diet, we take a pill, we take a shot, we lose 10, 20, 30 pounds. We go on as usual until we gain it back, and we have to start all over again. So what I want to talk about today is why. What are the things that are happening that are causing this? First of all, as a health coach, health and wellness coach, I have different ways that I deal with my clients individually, as I'm sure most coaches do. You just don't have a one-size-fits-all program because we're all different and individual. And I wanted to share, I signed up with a program probably a year or two ago to use in my clinic because people are different. Sometimes they need a different approach. And the reason I did, the background of this program was so good, and it did fall in line with a lot of the teachings that I believed in as far as natural foods and teaching you how to eat and working with your mental, spiritual, physical, and emotional. So it did fall in line with all those. And so I added it to my clinic for something different that I could do for people who maybe didn't want to cook all the time, had trouble putting their meals together. So I needed something, and I thought I would try this. I was interested in doing that for a few clients to help them. And so when I did, I loved the background of it, but I just could not wrap my head around the selling of processed bars for fiber. There's so many things that we can eat for fiber, and there were these processed bars that you could get, processed meals that tasted, to me, not so great, maybe a little bit like cardboard. And then you could post pictures. It was this whole program. You've seen them. They're all over the place. You can sign up for a program. You can have other people sign up under you, encourage everybody to sell, and somebody up the line gets a lot of money. That was not why I did that. I was looking for something else that I could add to my list of things that I could draw from or pull from to help clients. And so I began to do this, and I was like, I'm just not sure about this, because there was even a Facebook page where you could share photos. There was a certain book. You could take photos of someone who had their before and after photos and post them, and you could change it to say what you want. So it appeared that you were the one working with those clients and you had never even met them before. And at first I didn't even look at it that way, but I did a post because they were telling me you need to do these posts. And then people started commenting like, oh, good for you, Linda, you're doing a good job working on your clients. And I was like, that's just a little bit dishonest. And I normally do not even share posts of my clients unless they want to share them, because I do try to follow HIPAA rules. I try to keep a person's privacy. If someone wants to go out and give me a shout out and share and say, look what Linda's done for me, then I welcome it. But I try not to share people's information. So I really think my hype complaint today is transparency before I get into my deep dive of what we're going to talk about. And the sad thing is about this company, again, is that underlying background part of that program that they use. It can be used with anything. So I'm sure there's many coaches that can use that in teaching them how to cook good foods and pick foods that are good and not always eat something that's processed. You know, in reality, we need to take snack foods with us. We need to do some things so we can eat, especially if we're having to eat more often during the day, depending on what your situation is for your food. But I just kind of wanted to share that. You know, my background is in natural food. It's in the way God intended it to be and the things that He gave us to sustain us. And I know times have changed a lot, but we still have those things. And we can incorporate some of the good, healthy things that we have today in with that. If I could pick one contributing factor today to talk about, that had something to do with obesity or people being overweight, it would be stress. In reality, we all have stress. There's stress everywhere. How we deal with that stress affects our gut, and how we eat affects how we deal with the stress. It's kind of like a little circle or loop going on there. My goal, as usual, always is to educate you. I want to educate you to succeed. I want to educate you so that you have the tools you need and that you know what to look for when you're going out finding a health coach, a wellness coach, someone, a dietitian, nutritionist, someone that's going to help you on your weight loss program, because really it's more than weight loss. Whether it's weight loss, any other situation we have where we want to make a change in our life, it is a lifestyle change. And what that means, a lifestyle change, and some people obviously don't realize this, but a lifestyle change is something you do for the rest of your life. And it's something that becomes natural to you. It's not, in the beginning, you're making changes and you're feeling like, oh, I don't know if I can do this, but it's not forceful once you have made those changes. It becomes very natural to you. And it's good to have someone to coach you along in that. What I want to ask is, have you ever noticed how your moods affect your weight loss journey? It does. Our moods change. They go up and down. I mentioned on another show about the gut-brain connection and the health of that and how it works. The brain and the gut work together synergistically. Stress can alter the gut function through the gut-brain axis. So this leads to things like stomach aches, we can have diarrhea or constipation, and the gut, because the gut and the brain work together, it can affect our mood. Mood and stress levels are the things that it can affect. So what's happening is it's causing a loop effect. I don't know if you remember before when I spoke to you about it, but the vagal nerve is from the brain to the stomach and then from the stomach to the brain, and it's constantly sending signals. So it's kind of like this loop that goes around, but sometimes that loop gets hung on a different way or a different thought pattern, so to speak. And so it changes things and it affects our health. Let's say you're under more than normal stress. Oftentimes this causes us to head towards our favorite go-to foods and cravings, which are normally not what our body needs. And I'm just going to go ahead and tell you, do you want to know my craving? My craving are those little square chocolate Ghirardelli salted chocolate caramel squares. Oh my gosh, they're good. I try to stay away from sugar. I try not to buy those and keep them in the house, but every once in a while I cave in. When I do, I will take one square and put it away, and I might not go to it for a while. But we have these cravings. We have these things we want, especially if we're under stress or we're just feeling yucky or we've had a bad day or something's upset us. It seems like our natural response is to go to something like that for comfort, so that's why we call it comfort food. But why really does this happen? That vagal nerve is a communication pathway. So from the brain to the gut and the gut to the brain, it works both ways like a loop. This process is crucial in digestion. It's crucial in mood and the stress response. What I want you to learn is how to help your mood with your food. And those are some of the things that we teach at Well Life. The enteric nervous system, or ENS, this is kind of going back to your high school stuff, the ENS or enteric system, which is now, they call it the second brain, is a network of neurons intertwined together in the gut lining. Now it works independently of itself, but then it also communicates with the central nervous system as well. So it affects the movement of your gut. It affects enzyme secretions and blood flow. Now, the movement of your gut, if you're a person who stays constipated, you're going to have a buildup in there. You can develop issues like diverticulitis. It can irritate your diverticulitis, whether you're constipated or have diarrhea. But you're causing damage to your colon. And so you begin to get sick, you may begin to get a buildup of bacteria and things. And then on the other side of that with the diarrhea, you can lose your nutrients, or it can cause an imbalance in your microbiome as well. And I know I shared with you that I would be talking to you a little bit about probiotics and parasites and things, soon. So I am going to kind of bring in probiotics with this a little bit, because probiotics improve the microbiome of your health. There's good bacteria and there's bad bacteria, and we need both of those for balance. You can have things like yogurt that will help you. There's probiotics that you can take. I actually have sometimes for people, I will recommend that they do a pre and probiotic, and I even have one that's a pre, pro, and postbiotic when we're trying to work through and heal their system and bring it back to balance. My personal belief is we all need to have probiotics. We either need to take some type of probiotic or eat something daily that has good, healthy probiotics in it to help keep us balanced. We've just depleted everything in our food, and we're eating so many processed foods, which really is underlying in a lot of conditions, a lot of sicknesses and diseases. So not only do the gut and the brain work together synergistically, and they affect stress and digestion, but they affect our mood and our mental health. And that is so important because, again, it's a loop. It's something that's constantly going this way or going that way. And so trying to figure out ways to bring someone out of a more negative loop. There's even research that suggests that the gut health can affect cognitive function, which is, I have felt that way for a long time. I have a family member who had 3 accidents. None of them were their fault. They had a serious brain injury, and it's hard for them to eat right. So they get caught in that loop, and I have to remind them that you need to eat to heal your brain. And it's the same way with mental stress, anxieties, depressions. When we know we have conditions like anxiety, when we know we have conditions, like depression, if we have the tools we need to help with that, our life can be so much better. It can be so much fuller. Now, sometimes we have to take medication for that, and that's okay because things can be off balance, in the brain. But the good news is we know now that our food, our digestive tract, all of that has a lot to do with that. So it's not just, there's something off up here. It's something's not working right in our system in that loop. So we want to keep that communication right. And eating the right foods is the best way to help your body to do that. And when you talk with a coach, a dietitian, a nutritionist, a doctor, a therapist, whoever you talk to, especially when it comes to the food, like dietitians, nutritionists, and health and wellness coaches, we will normally give you a list of things that we know would benefit you more. And you know what? It might be different from you and your best friend who may be suffering from the same thing. And the reason for that is because our bodies are different even though they're the same. We were all uniquely made, and that's a wonderful thing. So really today, focusing on the psychological factors of our goals in weight, of our problems in not being able to lose weight, and for some not being able to gain weight. Some people can't eat. Especially people who are suffering from cognitive issues, they may forget to eat, or they may feel so nauseous they can't eat. It affects our bodies in so many ways. So we just need to be more aware of really how healing food is. We have our positive mental health, which is essential for maintaining motivation and commitment to weight loss and strategies, and not just to weight loss, to anything we do. It's easy to lose your motivation. It's easy to lose your commitment if you start struggling. On the other side of that, we have the depression and the anxiety that we were just speaking about. So those things will hinder the motivation and the commitment that we're putting in. This is exactly why, and I always stress this and talk about it on my show, you need to find someone you can work with. You need a good health coach, therapist, wellness coach, life coach, whatever it is you're dealing with. Your wellness includes the physical, the mental, the spiritual, and emotional. It's all together. The same way that gut and that brain axis works, all of those areas are included. All of that works together. We're going to take a quick break right now, and then we're going to come back and talk a little bit more about this.
We're in our 18th year of practice at the Hammer Chiropractic Center, and we've seen over 15,000 different people in the Rocky Mount area. 40% of headaches actually come from a neck problem. Many patients come in taking multiple aspirin, over-the-counter medications and such a day, and we can get you to stop doing that and actually fix the problem so the headaches don't rise anymore. A lot of people think chiropractic hurts. It does not. Most of the people come in and they feel great when they leave.
Welcome back. We were discussing the gut-brain connection, the loop process that happens, and really tying that into our mental and emotional health for reasons maybe why we can't lose weight or why we struggle with our weight. You know, we create these different patterns in our life, and we just kind of go through those steps, sometimes without being aware. Many times when I'm working with clients and I begin to question them, until they begin to do their journaling, and normally when I work with it, I will let them do what I call free journaling, so that they can write how they feel about their day and things that's happened. But initially, I will start their journal out with questions that I want them to answer for that first week, along with their free journaling, because it makes them think. It makes us think about why we're doing something, why we have a certain behavior. Maybe we don't even know why, but there's things you can do to trace back to how you develop that behavior. So it's, again, another way in all the other many ways that I use to get to root causes of what's going on with people. And we were talking about being stuck in a loop of negativity whenever, you can't just break out of that and be motivated and be committed. I told last week, I believe it was, the story of a lady who came to me she wanted to do some weight loss coaching, and she walked in my door with this great big huge giant McDonald's cup of sweet tea. And before we could ever get started, she gives me, I know, a list of about 20 things that she was not going to do. And the bottom line is there was no commitment. She was not willing to make a change. She wanted to see a change when she looked in the mirror. You stand up there and be, oh, I look so good, I've worked so hard. But she didn't want to work so hard to get there. And so you've got to have some commitment to be able to do these things. You've got to be motivated. You've got to figure out what your motivation is as well. So there's many steps that we take when we're working with someone to help you with that. And again, I want to mention that, this gut-brain connection and the mood and the anxiety and depression, this is not just connected to us in just a weight loss area. It can be if we have an injury or a surgery or if we've lost someone. Stress affects us in so many ways. And sometimes we feel stuck in something. Let's say you have an injury that you have not been able to overcome. You just cannot get past. And you worry, what if it's going to be like this forever? What if it's affected my life in a way that I'll never be able to go back to the way I was? And life is precious. So what we have to do is set a plan for something new. I've always told my children that sometimes they'll still call me as adults and they'll say, tell me something that's going on or something they're worried about or something that didn't work out. And I say, well, now your mom has always had a plan B. And you know what? We can always start fresh with a plan B in our life. We can always overcome anything if we can be committed and motivated enough. Does it mean life will be like it was? No, but you know what? It could be better. Because I've had many things happen in my life. I've had things that have happened to me physically, mentally, emotionally, all these different things that could have knocked me down and kept me from pursuing what I was doing. But I always had that plan B, and I just knew that if I stopped, that's when I was stuck. So if we can keep moving in a direction of positivity, keep moving towards our goals, even if it seems like it takes us a long time to get there. Sometimes we'll have a surgery or an injury or something, and you've got a list of things to do. You're in so much pain, you don't want to do that. For surgeries, maybe they have exercises you can do. They give you a list of things, but they also tell you to rest. You have to have rest for your body to heal. We know that our body does its best healing when we're resting, when we're sleeping at night or whatever time of the day that we sleep. Our body heals. That's one of the reasons you do not need to be eating past about 7 or 8 o'clock, which is very, very hard to do with the lifestyles that we live today, because your body will have to work half of that night to properly digest that food. When we put that food in our mouth and we begin to chew it, it breaks. The enzymes begin to break that food down. We should chew that food, and I've told you this before, but I just want to continue to stress it, at least 15 times. If you've got chewable food, you need to chew it at least 15 times. 20 is what they used to say. And then swallow that food. Because if you just take, chew, or chew, and then swallow, the minute it starts going down, your body is overworking to try to break that down. So first off, we want to chew our food. We want to swallow that food, and then what happens is our body begins to take the nutrients that we need from that food and send it here where it needs to be, and send it here where it needs to be. And so it's taking care of the body the way it needs to be took care of. And then what is waste, it will go ahead and take it down for waste. So that's why we need to choose our foods correctly, choose our eating times correctly, not overeat, eat small portions and not put so much work on the body. When the body's working so much that way, it can't heal itself either. But at night, we need to have all of our food eaten a few hours before we go to sleep so that our body can heal. And suffering a loss in your family, whether it's a death or a divorce or separation or any loss of a friend, anything, those things affect us. They affect our mood. They affect, our emotional health. All of those things are tied in together. So making sure that we're eating for our health. And again, like I said, having food for your moods. Those are things that you learn when you're going on this lifestyle path, this lifestyle journey that can help keep you healthier for many years and help you have a more fulfilling life. And those are the things that I try to stress for my clients and for myself too. I'm human. I can mess up every day just like you can. And then I have to go back and say, okay, what did I do? Where did I get off? And I have to start over because, I'm no different than you just because, I know a lot of this stuff. If we can have a diet, and this is not true for everyone because we have people who, if they have way too much fiber or any of the other things, so we like to personalize things. But just in general, we need a good high fiber diet to be able to help our food move, to be able to help our bodies do the things they need to do. We need fermented foods, omega-3 fatty acids. All those things can help promote a healthy gut microbiome. Again, I tell people if you have trouble with that eating or if you're eating those things and it doesn't seem to be working, you really need to be on a probiotic. Again, sometimes a pre-probiotic or pre-pro and postbiotic. But those are things that balance out your microbiome, your body, what makes things work. I'm going to take a minute and say something about the parasites, though, because someone asked me, well, is the microbiome parasites in our body? Well, parasites are different. There's different things, hookworms, all these other things that you can get. And I am going to do, maybe I'll do it next week. I'm really trying to get my stuff together so I can do that. But then I always invite a guest, and they come on, and so I put that on hold. But I think I do want to discuss those things with you so that you can understand what the difference is in that and how parasites affect us. Most people in the world, they'll at least do, in other parts of the world, they'll do parasite cleanses twice a year to cleanse their body and make sure, that those things are not living and causing havoc. There was a story of a brain surgery where a lady, they thought she had a malignant tumor or some type of tumor, and they go in, and when they touched it, and it opened up like a sac, and it was parasites. And you would be surprised how many times things like that happen. So I'm going to be sharing some information about that with you just to help you understand all that more. Stress management is very important. We need to make sure we're doing things to handle our stress. Take a walk, do some meditation, go out, take your shoes off, stand on the ground early in the morning and get grounded. Pull that energy that the earth has because we are part of that. And we need to be balanced in our bodies. Get a massage. Go have lunch with a friend. Just go sit on a swing and swing or a rocking chair and rock. That gives you vibration, and vibrational therapy is a wonderful therapy for your body. But try to do things that are going to help you relieve some of the stress. Try not to think on things so much. I have a little thing I do when I start to get really stressed. I will just start to sing. And sometimes I will sing out what I'm stressed about to some tune. I know it sounds crazy, but that's my little thing. But it helps me. It helps me because I'm hearing it more. I'm thinking, okay, I'm able to, break it down and process it and say, okay, this is not something I need to be so worried about. But there's so many things that you can do. You know the things that make you happy and help you relieve stress. So those are things that you can try to as well. I hope this has given you a little bit of information about why we struggle so much. Knowing that, to me, knowing is half the battle. Once we know why something or how something's working, then we can go on with the program and get it done. So I hope you have help. If you have questions, we always have a thing in the natural health world. We always say, we'll answer 3 of your questions. After that, you got to pay. So, go to wellifeinstitute.com. Give us a call at 252-363-7721. I'm happy to speak with you a few minutes. Come in and do a bioscan. Our bioscans give us a lot of feedback on what's going on in your body. And I'm happy to do those things and help you. If there's something I can't help you with, I always refer to other people. I've got a whole list of people that I trust, that I know that when I refer someone to them, they're going to be taken care of. And so there's always a way that we can help you improve your wellness, improve your health, and improve your life. And when you find yourself feeling down or feeling anxious or feeling like your moods are so affected that you just can't do anything, reach out to a friend. If you don't have a friend, make sure you have a therapist or someone that you can confide in. Sometimes talking things out. Sometimes we don't need anyone to tell us whether we're right or wrong or what's going on with our feelings. We just need someone to listen. And when we say it out loud, we hear it. That's the important part of therapy. When you say something out loud, you hear it, and then it sounds different to you. Maybe it doesn't sound so big when you say it, and so then you can not feel so threatened by that, and you can begin to work on what's causing that. I've enjoyed sharing this with you today. I look forward to seeing you next week. I think we have coming up next Linda Prezioso. I'm not sure if she has a guest with her today, but I know you are going to enjoy her. We always do. And so I'm going to tell you good evening.